So, good day everyone. My name is Marvin Jan Magallanes, third year BS Criminology student. So, for today's video, I'm gonna discuss some important things about drugs. So, let's start. What exactly is drugs? So, drugs is defined as a substance used as a medicine or in making medicine which affects the body and mind of individuals and has a potential for abuse. Without an advice or prescription from a physician or doctor, drugs is really harmful or dangerous that might end up causing a mental disorder, decreasing our capability to think and to act properly. Most of the drugs act within a cell rather than on the surface of a cell or in the extracellular fluids of the human body. Similar to normal body chemical, a drug enters and participates in a few steps in the normal sequence of a cellular process. Drugs may later interfere with or replace the chemical of normal cellular life and hopefully for the betterment of the person. Is the two forms of drugs, which is natural synthetic and artificial drugs. Natural drug is defined as made from a compound found in the nature. So this includes resin, hashish, opium, and marijuana. And next is the synthetic artificial drugs. Synthetic artificial drugs are created using man-made chemical rather than natural ingredients, and this includes the ecstasy and lysergic acid dithylamide. And next is the prescriptive drugs. These are drugs requiring written authorization from a doctor to allow a person to purchase a prescriptive drugs. They are prescribed according to the individual's age, weight, and height, and should not be taken by anyone else. So, it is a personal requirement and self-medication that should be strictly avoided, secretly avoided. The pharmacy should never allow the consumer to request them knowingly without first consulting to their doctor or any expert about next is the over-counter drugs or the OTC. OTC is a pharmaceuticals non-prescription medication. These are drugs that can be bought from any pharmacy or drugstore that does not require a prescription. But a doctor's written permission is required. They really are. It is used to treat minor and transient disease, and any persistent ailment should be addressed. The patient was promptly referred to a doctor. It should be repeated over and over again that instructions must be carefully followed and steps must be taken in order to avoid any complications. Next is the dangerous drugs. These are wide classifications or controlled course. In general, substances are categorized according to pharmacological categorization, consequences, implications according to their legal requirements. Depressants or central depressant is a drug that lowers neurotransmission levels, which is to depress or reduce arousal or stimulation in various areas of the brain. Depressants include alcohol, cannabis, opioids, heroin, morphine, and codeine. So the next one is stimulants. are a class of drugs that speed up message traveling between the brain and body. They can make a person feel more awake, alert, or likely energetic. So the drugs that belongs to the stimulant substance is cocaine, caffeine, shabu, and poor man's cocaine. So next is the hallucinogens or the psychedelic substance. It is a diverse group of drugs that alters a person's awareness or of their surroundings as well as their own thoughts. Is inhalants. Inhalants are often among the first drugs that young adolescents abuse. In fact, they are one of the few classes of substances that are abused more by younger adolescents and older ones. Inhalants abuse can become chronic and continue into our adulthood. So the drugs or substance that included in inhalants is gasoline, rugby, and lighter fluid. So, how can we know if the person is a drug user? And then, this is the signs that that person is already a drug user. So, the first one is the withdrawal from friends and family. So, for example, when the person is invited from a family gatherings or hang out with friends, and then he refused to join because he want to take dangerous drugs. So next is change in friendship or problem with friends. So in fact, if a person is a drug user, his friendship will change. His friendship will change and might create problems and argument when they talk about it. So next, a drop in grades or attendance at school. So these are the common signs that a person is a drug user, especially if that person is an adolescent or young ones. Next is sign of sadness, depression, agitation, or the effects of illegal drugs. The beginning of an illicit substance abuse disorder is marked by physical dependence. This can be recognized by a tolerance to and withdrawal symptoms from drug abuse. Tolerance occurs when you need more of the drugs to get the same effects as when you started. It is up to an individual to decide whether or not to engage in an illegal drug activities or to follow in the footsteps of others who make their life miserable. Illegal drug activities is, in my opinion, one of the most serious issues we face in the Philippines aside from murder, treason, burglary, and etc. Teenagers and adolescents are among the most common users of illegal drugs because they are curious of seeing someone else do drugs, and it makes them even more curious about how drugs would make them feel.